Hello, my name is Shane Keogh. I am one of the co-founders of SVK Crypto in London, and as you can probably see, we are here in Hong Kong for Token 2049. I am joined by my good friend Ari Shapanya, and he is from Slice. Slice is a very interesting upcoming project, and I thought I would just grab Ari for a few moments just to have a quick chat so that we can get our SVK crypto crowd up to speed with what Slice are doing. So Ari, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your time. And why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, and tell us about the Slice project.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And in a nutshell, Slice is about turning crypto into real estate. So the solution is about volatility. We don't know where Bitcoin or Ether is going to be tomorrow. We don't know in a month if it's going to be at 10,000 or maybe at 5,000 or lower. And the solution to volatility is stable assets. So Slice is about taking your crypto and turning it to a cash flowing stable asset. We focus in the US and mostly in New York, LA, and San Francisco, and deploy the capital in high-rise multifamily projects. So that's in a nutshell about the project.
And what was the reason to have that as an actual token? Why is it not a play for high net worth individuals, which are your client base, to invest fiat into your projects or even into a real estate fund? Why does it need to be tokenized, and what are the advantages for the token holder?
That's a great question. So there are a few aspects. First is the access. If you're based, let's say, in Singapore, Hong Kong, London, and so on, it's hard to get access to top producing or institutional grade real estate. See, it's a club that you don't really get an access. So what we do is we give you the access, and you don't need to pitch in $1 million or $2 million, which is usually the minimum amount, because we get the access to the institutional grade deals. Secondly, we will give liquidity. So we structure that on a blockchain in order to create liquidity. So now all of a sudden you take all these assets that people used to be locked for 5 or 10 years, and now you create liquidity in e-liquid asset. So now you have access, you have liquidity, as that token is going to be tradable in the security exchanges.
And the token will be traded on exchange, or will there be any type of way whereby amongst your token holders in your community that they'll be able to trade OTC, or would it have to go onto an exchange? Because if it's on exchange, then obviously you have to get it listed.
Yeah, so users will be able to trade it internally, so we will also provide liquidity. Right. We have a reserve fund, so right, if you bought something with us, you will be able to get liquidity through us because we have a reserve fund, which will give you liquidity, depends on the asset class that you bought. Right. For instance, now our Manhattan project is going to be live on April 1st. And the second option is actually when there will be a secondary market. And in the secondary market, yes, you're absolutely right, because exchanges like T0 will list securities. And each project on Slice is deemed as security. It is a security because every project pays dividends or distribution once a quarter or once a year.
And what's your pipeline of acquisitions looking like on the property side? And maybe you'll give our viewers a little bit of an understanding of what's actually going on in these cities with regards to the overall property market.
Right. So in the US, obviously, interest rates are currently starting to get on the rise. They are on the rise, the 10-year midterm interest rate. Definitely cap rates are changing. We definitely see some movements on that end. That said, locations like LA, San Francisco, and New York, there's always going to be in high demand. There's always going to be stability, and it's always a safe haven for investors. That's why it's obviously smarter to go on that. Or you can definitely get a cap rate of 10 or 12% in Alabama, yeah, but it's a high-risk investments. So on that end, going to these locations on projects that are added value or projects that are actually have stable tenants, that's where you keep that stability and solid returns. I hope it makes sense.
And maybe you'll take this opportunity to talk about your upcoming token launch or ICO and any plans or any tokenomics that you are at liberty to discuss. I think now would be a great time so we have an understanding of the size of the project and the timeline as well.
Sure. So Slice is a platform for securitization of real estate, right? Our goal is to be the kind of the Stripe, right, the gateway of real estate funds or real estate developers and sponsors. So they will come to us and we will do that entire flow for them. We're the platform. Users can easily access all of a sudden any high quality institutional grade real estate. Currently, we talked about the New York offering in Chelsea, Manhattan. That's a top location. There is another offering we're working in LA, and that's going to be live within a month. And that offering is actually going to produce more than 30% internal rate of return for investors. Wow. And yes, these are not crypto returns. These are more institutional or conventional returns. Definitely, a private market is offering higher returns than REIT, for example. Yeah. And so in terms of the platform is listing securities. Right. But the platform itself will have a token that will allow that access to users to get access to the listings or to the different properties, and to developers or funds to list their projects. And on that, we're doing a private, we're going to initiate a private sale on April 1st. Right. And we haven't yet decided on the exact mechanism of that. Right. In terms of whether we're going to give a distribution, a portion of our revenue, which we'll consider as security as well, or we'll just give a utility to our users.
Okay, and how can we find out more about the project? Would you be so kind as to let us know your website, your Twitter handle, and if you're also on Telegram?
Yeah, so it's slice.market, and all details are there. Right. That's pretty much it.
Okay, man. High five. You got to do the high five, right? Okay. Well done. Thank you so much for Ari and all his team, and we wish them all the best in their upcoming project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SVK.